Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back. A new Electromite Pendulum support got revealed a couple of days ago. Let's try it out. It's finally up on the Yugioh Pro. It's very similar to Electromite. I think everyone already has seen the new card. It's a Link 2. Basically the same as Electromite, has very similar effects. Upon Link Summon, but only in the extra monster zone, it will be it will turn itself into a Joker. So you can search any Pendulum monster from your deck, for example, and add it to your hand. So that's fantastic. Small downside is that you have to pay 1200 life points, as you see here, searching, harmonizing, and from then on, if you use the search effect, you can't use any monster effects. Plus, all monster, at least both of your skills, their effects are also negated. But up until the point you Pendulum summon. So after your Pendulum summon, at least after, yeah, indeed, pretty much after your Pendulum summon, you can immediately use your monster effect. So, you know, using Wisdom Eye from your scale, using Oath from your scale, using Harmonizing Magician, the level 4 tuner that you just Pendulum summon to the field. Again, all of those effects can be used after, you know, you went for your Pendulum summon. As you saw in the build, artifact side is not in the main deck. I think I have like 1 or 2 games with it, but you know, those games aren't really too much interesting, or aren't really too you know, too interesting to watch, because most of them, you know, will just end on this. In all honesty, like competitively speaking, if the artifact package is legal, I would definitely play it in this. But if you don't want to, you know, just go with this. You can drop the Dagda from your extra deck, for example, and I can't remember which cards I added. I think I added in another, yeah, second copy of Beyond the Pendulum. I mean, just a 2-off. Same for Helki Fibrex, since that card kind of carries the deck as well. Opening up those double extra monster zones, plus searching the tuner, what is it called? Tuning Magician? It's fantastic, right? So, yeah, it is what it is, but anyway, most of the duels now are without artifact side, so I think that's more interesting. Anyway, the problem still is the same going seconds. The thing is though, is that the last effect of your Link 2, the new one, your Electromite 2.0, is that Konami decided to give it a destruction effect, so again, very similar to Electromite, but it's not at will, like you know, continuous or whatever, use its effect during your own turn. No, it only gets that popping effect when, like here in this case, you, let's say, Pendulum summon 2 monsters with different levels, if I'm not mistaken, to the zones where your Link monster is pointing towards to. So let's say here, in this case, it would have been level 6 and level 4. So I have to destroy, well, no, I can, but again, I'm forced, if I use the effect, I'm forced to destroy 2 cards. I guess it's cool, you can pop your own, what is it called, the searcher, yeah, you know which one I mean, the new one, recently put at 3, you know, searching the Pendulum Graph spell or trap, or, you know, pop your opponent's stuff, so that's cool. Going second, the card definitely gives Pendulums a big boost. The problem still stays the same, is that you have to establish your board, you have to establish her on the field, you have to go for the Pendulum summon, establish your skills in order for you to eventually pop 2 cards from your opponent. So I guess that could be useful, let's say, after Dark Ruler No More, shut down your opponent's entire monster lineup, and then the popping effect could definitely help out, but in all honesty, as you saw, your opponent will just negate it in every other way, or prevent the popping effect from going through, right? So it's an iffy effect, but I guess it's a nice niche, and it could definitely come into play. So going, you know, at least try to establish my scale. A triple curtain raiser, again, I mean, just testing it as a 3-off, because before, or with Electromite, basically the same logic. Going for the second copy, it gets impermed. Keep in mind that my Pendulum Graph spell prevents my opponent from using Widow Anchor, well, on spellcasters that is, and you know, my entire board here are all spellcasters. Norito and Celine is also a spellcaster, if I'm not mistaken, and, you know, trying to go for Access Code Talker. Maybe I should have gone for Savage first. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much. We now see, indeed, a double Widow Anchor. One of them is going to get, yeah, indeed, negated by Norito, and I can just drop Savage as well, deal some damage, and yep, Purple Poison hitting the multi-roll, I believe the name is. Yeah, don't want to, you know, give Sky Strikers a free pluses. Plus, I'm going to get back the access code Talker. I have 1 spell negation, 1 omni negation, and that's basically it, but that's cool. I mean, your opponent is really low on resources, so this could be enough, especially against, you know, a deck like Sky Strikers. Shizuka during the end phase, that's again not threatening, and the access code Talker is giving me the extra monster zone plus the Shizuku as well. But yeah, here it doesn't really well. Failure on Barrel Savage is cool, and this is the cool thing, right, about the new Pendulum. Well, no, it's not in this particular duel because now Helki hits the board, but both of them pretty much have the same or serve the same role. Come back to that in a couple of moments. Big Pendulum Summon going for Time Star Exceeds. Get the free search eventually. Should be game, right? Big Appaloosa. Burl Savage is still negated, but can go for Tornado Dragon. Tornado Dragon is still there. Again, stuff like Mystic Mind, for example. Maybe popping your own magicians in your scale, so it could still be used. Gamma is a big counter, prevents the link from going through, plus Joker, again, unlike Failure or Imperm, it at least, you know, it destroys the monster as well. But the Tuning Magician, and here, this is cool, and that's something I haven't mentioned yet, is that one of the reasons why I like her so much is that she's very flexible to get on the field. You only need 1 Pendulum monster and then any other monster, so let's say you could use, or you know, Link Summon her for with let's say a dead Tornado Dragon, or you know, any other, like you just saw, the Tuning Magician. That's so cool, that's super flexible, very convenient, and superb support. Definitely much better you know, than I gave the card credit for, I'm honest. This is the reason why Formula Synchron is there, against stuff like Droplet, if your opponent is not targeting the Helki, right? Deck out for Formula, go for Fleur, for basically 1 extra omnication. Plus, but yeah, the problem still stays the same. The setup here, if you're going first, for example, that doesn't matter. It's still super fragile against Dark Ruler. Yeah, I mean, that it is what it is. That's just the case. That again doesn't change, right? It still stays the same. Establish the board, Virtual World. I guess that's cool, but it's also one of those decks that's, you know, super fragile against disruption. And with the Pendulum Craft Trap, you have you know, enough disruption to eventually give you you know, the game. Normal Summon Joker for some beneficial searchers. Well, it doesn't really matter too much because it's game either way. Going second, and you know, going second with Pendulums without an without a side deck, it's hard. Especially if you're playing against, you know, a deck that has like a couple of negations first turn plus potential hand traps. You definitely want your stuff like Dark Ruler, and with Dark Ruler the game is of course much more easy, or much easier to play. Dark Ruler their entire, like this field, Dark Ruler, and then, you know, your Beyond the Pendulum can potentially pop 2 cards from your opponent and get yourself back in the duel. Desires, I don't like Desires, but I think it's needed. That +1 is delicious. It just gives you more options. For again your Pendulum scale or a bigger Pendulum summon. So I think it's definitely needed as a 3-off. Soul Harmonizing gets negated, and yeah, this is, I guess, the nail in the coffin. The Sword Soul Trap, basically the Icarus attack, prevents me from getting out, I guess, you know, Helki access code. Without that, well, it's there because of that, right? But without that, definitely would have been, you know, it's still in the duel, but Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer is so ridiculous on its own as well. And yeah, this is pretty much game. I mean, the thing is, it's going second against this particular matchup, for example, couple of negations first turn, maybe with 1 or 2 hand traps. You definitely want your side deck cards evenly, Dark Ruler mainly. Gamma, big one, again as I mentioned before, negates the effect and pops your monster, destroys it. That's big, especially against a deck like Pendulum in Master Rule 5. Oath gets back a monster, and I'm going to end on a weaker board. But I have a potential, at least I have follow-up play for next turn. Joker plus the time Pendulum Graph Trap for some extra interruptions. But again, I'm heavily dependent on my my draw next turn, right? So Dweller gets negated by Imperm, I guess that's fine. The Tanky is there, the useless Gamma is there as well. So now I think we know the... there's one unknown card, so that could be anything, right? Like best case scenario, at least I was expecting the any beast, I guess, to be discarded off of Karas. But wasn't the case, so I can capitalize on that. And here's again something I again mentioned before, the super flexibility of Beyond the Pendulum. Dweller is now, I guess, quote-unquote useless, and Joker is the Pendulum monster, so I can go for Beyond the Pendulum, search the other part of the scale, set up the scale, all monster effects are negated, scales cannot be activated, well, the effects, right, so just go for the Pendulum summon. All monster effects are alive until this point. I'm not sure, I don't think this is game I can rank up Link Summon into access code, but that's not enough if I'm not mistaken, so I'm, just going for the... Since we know there is a Karas, going for a weaker Appaloosa, plus there is still the disruption of the Pendulum Graph Trap, so I mean, this should be my duel, right? Karas is there, indeed is going to get destroyed by a Pendulum Graph Trap. I'm going to keep Oath on the field, set up the Tuning Magician and go from there. Should indeed be GG. The Appaloosa, yeah, it doesn't rent. Well, why should I? Just keep Appaloosa at a healthy amount of attack points. This is another duel where Artifact Sight was in the main deck. I mean, if you have it, The thing is though, is that Pendulums going first, you're somewhat super vulnerable to hand traps, and that's where the potential Dagda into Sight could come into play as somewhat of like a backup play. So it's there. You can go for it. It's another Link 2 for borrow an early Savage, right? If you use a Sight, let's say for a Link Summon for Helki Fibrex, like here. But again, it's up to you. This, I promise, is the last one with Artifact Sight. And Tornado Dragon is super flexible. The thing is that if you're using TG Wonder Magician and Helki, you're relying on Helki to pop your Artifact Sight, with Wonder Magician. That could be a problem, since you're giving the opponent the the potential opportunity to act first during their main phase 1, right? That's the problem of Helki, while Tornado Dragon on the other hand is more flexible. You can use Tornado during your opponent's draw phase and hit the Artifact Sight that way. Again, that could be important against a couple of matchups, right? Should be my duel again. Savage already has been used, yeah. This is somewhat of a guess, but I think, again, I don't want Natasha hitting the board. And I think this was like a well-guessed, like how do you say it? I guess well-guessed, just a guess, right? Again, you don't want Natasha hitting the field, and this should be GG. Setting up the skills, double Joker definitely helps. Who knows, with our next TCG ban list we might get the third Joker. It should be, why not? Especially with this new support, we're not getting Electromite back. Last example going first, again setting on the scales, opening the Pendulum Graph spell is always nice, a free search, plus the, Beyond the Pendulum is going to get negated. That is fine, because again now I am able to use my monster effects, plus, unlike Gamma, Beyond the Pendulum is still face up on the field, so again opening up those 2 extra monster zones, plus the Imperm here, it's just one less negation on the Harmonizing, right? So set up the Link 2 in the graveyard, again some standard plays, and a bigger Appaloosa, unlike usual, upgrading with Celine. The Time Star gets the Search, Joker, Boral Savage, right? Again, some standard plays, standard fields, a decent field, couple of monster negations, plus the Omni negation in the form of Boral Savage, right? So that's, I guess, it's fine. Ecclesia forces out one of the negations. The Water Run, you know which one I mean, forces out another Appaloosa. So again, yeah, Fusion Destiny is definitely going to get negated, and this should be, that's a thing, right? If it's not Artifact Sight giving you the beneficial turn, the extra turn, it's well, you know, you're relying a little bit more on those negations, and another copy of Beyond the Pendulum, I think you need to, even though the life point cost could be big, but getting the beneficial search, opening up those double scales, very similar to Electromite, it's just far too good. So definitely a 2-off in the extra deck. So this new card, it's fantastic. You know, you can't really compare it to Electromite, but both pretty much serve the same, you know, the same goal. And there's definitely more ways to abuse this card. So again, like always, feel free to leave, you know, suggestions for potential decks to try out. And yeah, for me that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lead team signing out. Peace.